What is up, guys? My name is Isaiah Hill, and if you're wondering why there's another movie review out, it's because I did Back to the Future today because I failed to do the review of that movie yesterday. So, very rarely would this happen where there will be two reviews in a day. But this was the film I was planning on doing. So, Back to the Future is a catch up from yesterday, while this film here is a catch up for today. And the film is, I'm gonna say it, the rating already for me is an amazing. Um, this is my personal favorite film. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Shawshank Redemption. And as a double, as you can see, it's by Warner Brothers. It's a two-film collection. At the very bottom, it's The Green Mile, starring Tom Hanks. Another amazing film. Yeah, spoiler alert, it's going to be an amazing. But after I get done with the Back to the Future trilogy tomorrow, and I promise it will be tomorrow, um, I'm going to jump into The Green Mile for Thursday. And Friday, I need to think, because I usually plan this out beforehand, like what films I'm going to review. Now, Shawshank Redemption is an interesting one. This was actually going to be my very first movie review, but Back to the Future caught my eye first because I was like, you know what, Back to the Future is better because I moved actually to my place recently, and I've been doing it from this place. It's been in my room, it's been everywhere. So, and that's how it's been. But Back to the Future caught my eye, and I started watching like the films, so I wouldn't feel too homesick. And but now I'm doing Shawshank. Shawshank Redemption, it like I said, is my favorite film of all time. It stars Tim Robbins, Morgan Freeman, with Clancy Brown. A younger generation may know him as the character Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob SquarePants. Um, that's a lot. That's already pretty epic. Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman play their parts phenomenally as Andy Dufresne and Red, respectively. And this film is written and directed by Frank Darabont, and the movie is based off the novella Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption by Stephen King. Now, I'm a huge Stephen King fan. I love his books. I love everything like that he has written, basically. But I will admit, most of his adaptations have been a hit and miss. This, The Green Mile, Stand By Me, those are typically amongst my favorite films. I'm getting ahead of myself, sorry. Um, Shawshank Redemption is about a man, Andy Dufresne, who is convicted for killing his wife and her lover. And the evidence is pointing directly at him. It's like, yes, you did it. And the DA, district attorney, he is like brutal. He is laying it in. Like he's saying, I don't see how you can say that when everything is pointing at you. Literally, Andy keeps saying to the fact, I'm innocent. Which we do not know. We do not know in the beginning if he's innocent, because the film opens up. Sorry, spoilers. The film opens up with him getting drunk and pulling out a gun from the glove compartment, and it's a revolver. And the film shows like how Andy was arguing with his wife. He was having marital problems, and she was staying with her lover. So Andy Andy just tries to say, I'm innocent. I am not. I'm the victim here. I am not the one who did it. He's a victim of like a coincidence. And when the DA like starts telling the jury, I believe, and he's like explaining how like the revolver only holds 6 shots, but there were 4 shots each in the person. So that means that he fired 3 and one person fired three in the other, and he filled it with two more shots to shoot each person in the head, an extra bullet for each person. I believe it's in the head, but like with this film, like the judge says you are like a very disturbing man. It chills his blood. Look at him, and he uh, gives him 2 life sentences to serve at Shawshank, one for each of his victims. And then the film cuts to Red getting denied for parole. And this I always thought was like, oh, it's a prison thing. Like he's doesn't want to get out. He wants to stay in prison because he's like, oh yes, I'm a changed man. Nope, no danger here. And he gets rejected. Now I always thought that was because they think he's just saying that he's not changed. And we get an introduction that Red is the guy who can get you things in prison. And this becomes like somewhat not a running gag, but it comes like a running theme because like I'll get to that later. Then Shawshank's like siren alarm goes off, and if you are interested to know, the alarm for the Krusty Krab is the same alarm in Shawshank, which also has Clancy Brown, who voices Mr. Krabs. Um, Thought that was pretty cool to share. And you meet the prisoners, and there you start placing bets on who's gonna break first because it's fresh fish. So one of my favorite lines is because to me I always find it humorous. Like the first night's the roughest, no doubt about that. Skin burned half blind from the delousing, and they march you in naked as the day you were born. I know I did that out of order, but I always liked that. But then you see like the head guard, who is brutal when you first meet him, but he beats a man to death. And it cuts to like them showing like what Andy's life now in prison, and then it comes to where Andy comes up to Red, and he says like I understand that you're a man who knows how to get things. And Red says, I'm known to locate certain things from time to time. But also they talk about how everyone in Shawshank is innocent. Haywood even like didn't do it. The lawyer screwed with me. I'm trying not to use language, even though this is an R-rated film, and if you haven't seen the movie, I highly recommend it. And the thing is, like, they start talking about getting a rock hammer, which Red's like, what is it and why? And Andy's like, why you ask? And he's like, well, if it were a toothbrush, I wouldn't ask, because toothbrush is not a lethal object, but a rock hammer. That's well, and then he's like, all right. He tells him that it's like a pickaxe, and it's for rocks, and they think, oh, you're going to sink into someone's skull. He's like, no, you'll get it. Or crawl, or make a hole and crawl out. And Red develops like liking him from the start. And then what's so cool is this is the coolest thing ever. Like how they do like Red's packaging's coming in. It's like through the laundry, and Red is everything gets paid in cigarettes. I apologize for the train, guys. Red pays them in cigarettes, and that's the currency in the movie. It's cigarettes. Then when Andy gets the rock hammer, you see him like go through like making rocks, and then you see him carve his name like into like the wall, I believe. But that's later. But then like when we're introduced like right after Red and Andy's like meeting like, or during it, Boggs and the sisters, who are prison rapists. And Red said, and Andy's like, I don't think it will help if I told them I'm not homosexual. And they said, neither are they. They have to be human first. And Andy gets brutally beaten and raped by these guys. And Red's like I wish I could tell you Andy fought a good fight. But prison's no fairy tale world. He never said who did it, but we all knew. And it goes through like what has happened to Andy. And then we find out that the roof needs to be like tar. like tarring like the roof, and while they're tarring it, it gets to being like where like Andy overhears Byron Hadley like talking about his problems, and he's like comes up like with this idea. He's like, oh yeah, here's an idea. It's tax free, and it convinces him. And the prisoners start to fall in love with Andy because they start falling in love with him because the fact that Andy is not like any other prisoner. Like he's actually trying to help. Um, when Andy goes to a movie theater, he tells Red, I understand that you're a man who knows I get things. And Red says, well, I'm known to locate certain things from time to time. And he asks for Rita Hayworth to start watching a movie. And Andy runs into Boggs again. And he gets beaten to where he has to spend time in the hospital or infirmary. And while Boggs gets solitary. But then we see Boggs get beaten to where he can't walk again. And the sisters never touch Andy again. And overall, like the film, it shows them actually getting closer with the prisoners. They get him rocks. They get him Rita Hayworth. They basically want to make sure like Andy. They give Andy the best of everything. And let's talk about like the acting. I love the acting. The acting to me is perfect. Like it is cast perfectly. Like you love to hate some characters. You love the characters that you're supposed to love. The writing is phenomenal. And the novella itself is amazing. Um, you get to see much more of like how these prisoners are, like how they are just, like living. But the prisoners are kind of like the good guys here because some of the guards. I mean, yeah, there are some prisoners like Boggs who are not good, but then you get like guards like I forget who he is. Like he's like the one who's talking to Andy, like congratulating him, saying that he did it. Not all the guards like Hadley. And we get like a whole thing like where Andy's trying to get books in the library. And but then when you get like to like now he starts doing taxes. Like he starts doing all these deals that are illegal, like very illegal deals, and he does it all under a fake name. But then Brooks, and this is by far one of the most amazing and deeply thought out moments in all film. You get to see what prison has done to an old man, and it's institutionalized. And I use this to describe some kids at school because I was like, these walls are funny. At this school is funny, and it's same to Red. At first you hate it, but then by the end of your freshman year, you're used to it. At the end of sophomore year, you depend on it because it prevents you from going out into the real world. That's like institutionalized. Brooks was so institutionalized that he lived in fear. It was too much for him that he committed suicide. We get to see all these things like unveil, but if you notice, like Andy knows the freedom, Red doesn't, and it's because innocence versus guilt. Like Andy knew he was innocent. Red says, I'm the only guilty man at Shawshank. And he will admit it. He's not afraid to admit it. Then we're introduced to a character named Tommy who could actually get Andy out of Shawshank, but the warden rebuttals it because he's like, no, 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 no. You need to keep doing these deals, otherwise, who's going to do them? And Andy basically insults him and brings up the money. Now, the warden wants to keep this as quiet as possible. And he has Tommy executed. And Andy spends 2 months in solitary. And it doesn't change him. It's supposed to lead you on. But, like, Andy says that I want to go to Zihuatanejo, Mexico. And that sticks in, and I'll get to that. But then comes the greatest misdirections. You believe Andy's laws because because Haywood says, "Oh yeah, well, yeah, he came down here and asked for rope." And thinking about Brooks, like how he committed suicide, they're like, "Oh, we think that he's going to kill himself." And it is edited and shot so well, like where you're like, "Oh, is he really going to do it?" And then you'll see Andy come out of the cell, and how the prisoner guard is looking, it looks like he's looking at the window or the beam, and you're like, "Did Andy do it?" But then you get to the warden, like where he opens the shoes, and there's Andy's shoes, and it's amazing, like how everyone thinks like Andy just all of a sudden vanished. But then when they look behind a poster, oh yeah, and by the way, Andy goes through three posters: Rita Hayworth, Marilyn Monroe, and Raquel Welch. The warden throws a rock, and it goes right through the Raquel Welch poster, and you see this hole that Andy just climbed through. He escaped, and it shows you how he escaped, and it's amazing. Like it takes someone who literally knows that prison inside and out, and there's like a lot of debate, like how is he able to take the curtain back up? I got an explanation. It's taped from the top, so he just lifted up like a curtain and he just crawled through. Um, then when you cut through like Andy's escape and you see how it affected the prisoners, it's like, huh? And the warden could, and the warden's about to get caught because Andy basically says, "Hey, there's corruption in Shawshank. There was murder. There was like illegal dealings, and Andy stole the warden's money, all of it." Byron Hadley is arrested for murder. The warden kills himself to prevent from going to prison. Then you get, in my opinion, the greatest scene in the movie. Now, the whole film is great, but this scene makes it for me, where Red is in his final parole hearing, where he's just tells him, I don't believe that you know that I should be in here. You just think I should. You can just sign it on. I don't care." And Red has been in prison for so long that he's like, it almost doesn't matter, but he's approved. But Red, he has a hard time adjusting, and he fears he's going to turn to Brooks. So he, but only one thing he's going to go in, that's Andy. And he goes all over, and he keeps his promise to him. He goes up to a rock wall that Andy mentions. I'm sorry I didn't mention it before, but he goes up against a rock wall against a tree, which was very helpful, which actually was part of Andy's life. And he finds a container under a rock that has no reason to be in there, and he opens it up, and there's money in there and a note. So Red goes and gets a ticket to out of the border, and he says it's parole violation, the second crime I committed, and you see him ride off. Fun fact: that was the actual ending of Shawshank, but then the last bit was edited in, like where they meet, because the studio thought, oh well, where does Red find him? But how it ends here, like you see them together, but then the last shot of the movie is just the helicopter pulling back. It's just going away. That's because that was Frank Darabont's response. This film is amazing to me. I give this film an amazing, obviously. I loved it. It is a film I can never stop watching. This film I have seen countless times, and I have loved it and I've cherished it. I highly recommend Shawshank Redemption. This is a film that I'm pretty sure that parents have seen, teenagers have seen, children even have seen, and it's R-rated, so I hope you kids haven't seen it, but they have. It's not really scary. It's pretty lowbrow. It's mainly language and like some of the stuff that goes on in the prison. But that's my thoughts on Shawshank Redemption. Thank you for listening. My name's Isaiah Hill. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you wish to see more film reviews like this one, subscribe. This again is a makeup. This is the review really for today, along with Back to the Future. It was a makeup for yesterday. Thank you guys very much for listening in. Sorry if I gave away too much spoilers if you want to check out the film by yourself. But I really appreciate you guys taking time to view the video. And I hope that you guys have a great evening, because right now it's evening. um, thank you very much. See you guys next time. My name is Isaiah Hill, signing off.